Arsenal finished the 22-23 season in second place with 84 points. It's not bad. Their squad was already formidable, but now they've only gone ahead and added Declan Rice, Kai Havertz, Jurriën Timber, and it looks like David Raya to their ranks. The fact that all of these players would probably start in the majority of EPL teams and that it looks like they will ultimately splash about £240 million to acquire them should make everyone feel a little bit nervous. Listen, transfers are obviously important, but they don't mean everything. You have to combine them with everything that goes on behind the scenes, and when we do so with the Gunners, we're left with a package that is still pretty impressive. Add the management that Arsenal have displayed over the past few years to get them to where they are right now, and what you're left with is a team that can no longer be thought of as the fresh underdog fairy tale team. These guys mean business, and it's time for them to show it. With the season already here, I thought that out of all the teams to look into before kickoff, Arsenal were the most intriguing. So that's what we're going to be doing in this video. Yo, what is going on, guys? Hope you're all doing well. I'm Tinashe and welcome back to the channel. I sincerely hope that all of you are mentally prepped to be severely disappointed by whichever team you support over the next few months. I know I am. Apologies for the lack of videos over the past few weeks. I've been traveling and also I've been sick and am still sick, but don't worry about that. New season, new me. We've got a lot coming up. Trust me. Last season, it was pretty clear that depth was needed. Arsenal did so much to put themselves into a really strong position, but when it came to crunch time, they just lacked that killer edge, and it showed. It was a massive shame. But forward is the only direction. Speaking of which, here we see a breakdown of how Arsenal planned for their future in terms of spending since Mikel Arteta became head coach in 2019. What we're seeing here is obviously an indication of the ever-increasing prices of players in the European transfer market. I should also point out that these are grouped by both the winter and summer windows of each season. The 23-24 season is already blowing its predecessors out the water, and we're not even done with the window yet. A lot of people will possibly look at these figures and think things like the game is gone or that this amount of spending is tragic, but let's all be real here. You have to spend to survive in this landscape. Plus, if we look a little bit further, we'll actually realize that Arsenal are just playing catch-up, really. Here is the spending of the other so-called Big Six teams in the league between 2012 and 2022. It's almost like they've been playing in a different league altogether. In a lot of ways, despite a title push in 2016, you could argue another one in 2015 too, they were. Now, if we look at the spending of the same team since 2019, when Arteta joined, we're met with a much different picture. A picture which indicates a shift, particularly for Chelsea. God knows they need a good season next year. But more on them in another video. Of course, much has been said about why Arsenal can now afford the players that they've been buying this season, as well as in the 3 or 4 seasons that preceded this one. Everyone knows about how the stadium affected their spending for years. If you don't, I made this video a while back which goes into a lot of detail about it. Essentially, the repayments, among other things, were prioritized over strengthening the squad. Arsene Wenger truly walked, so Mikel Arteta could run. We also have the fact that Arsenal are now back in Europe and will be raking in that sweet UCL money. And then here we have the wage bills of each Big Six team since 2019 too. Note that these are estimated based on base wages and do not include bonuses paid out for performances, trophies won, and all that extra stuff. These figures will obviously go up for every team once the window is finished and we can consolidate the final rosters. I'd actually expect Arsenal's figures to go up more than that of several others due to the profile of those that they've been signing. But even then, several big brain finance experts have all confirmed that Arsenal are far away from worrying about FFP.
Talk about net spend. Don't talk about spend, talk about net spend.
They've noticed positions that need reinforcements and they've gone ahead and started plugging away. In 2018-19, Manchester United finished second in the Premier League with 81 points. They then went on to only sign Diogo Dalot and Fred, as they attempted to build on from that. They finished 6th the next year, and Jose Mourinho was sacked by December. In 2021, Liverpool finished second with 92 points. Cody Gakpo and Darwin Núñez were the most significant players brought in as they tried to one-up themselves. They finished in 5th. United took almost a decade to sign a defensive midfielder. That only happened in 2022. Same can be said about a consistent right winger. You could argue that that hasn't happened yet. Liverpool needed a complete revamp of their midfield. They didn't do it. I'm oversimplifying things, but I hope you get what I'm trying to say. If you're not so much of a fan of club finances, something that may be of more interest to you isn't so much the fact that they've been able to afford these signings, but rather the fact that they've been able to attract these signings. We'll talk about the more recent signings in a bit, but think about it like this. Why would multi-EPL winners Alexander Zinchenko and Gabriel Jesus move to the lower Arsenal? Probably largely because they worked with Arteta at City, to be fair. Maybe those examples aren't too great, but I doubt they'd have made the shift if they didn't see something in the air. But even before that, the likes of Thomas Partey and Martin Odegaard definitely could have gone to a team that finished higher than 8th in the Major League the year before they were bought, for example. And on the subject of the overall plan regarding these reinforcements, you'd have to be an all-time professional hater to think that these players weren't brought in for a reason and that they probably won't be able to do the job that they were brought in for. If the Community Shield is anything to go by, then Arsenal are in good stead to make a huge splash in the upcoming season. The game management was really good. There wasn't much they could have done for that opening goal by City, but in the later stages, they really came alive. I'm not going to go into too much detail about this match, as even though some people choose to look at it differently, it's hard not to see this game as anything more than a warm-up. Besides, it's hard to meaningfully comment on how this fits into the grander scheme of things and what shape will ultimately prevail for Arteta. Will Rice and Partey coexist on a regular basis? Even though he historically does operate on the left side, despite usually starting in the center, Rice started as a left-sided CM. Is he a Granit Xhaka-shaped replacement? No. Jurrien Timber, despite only playing 9 games at left back over his entire career, was placed on that side. Is he going to start ahead of Zinchenko and Tierney if both are fit? It's hard to imagine. Chelsea fans had PTSD seeing Kai Havertz start in the 9 position despite seeing him in red. His work rate is one to admire, and he does offer obvious physical advantages over Gabriel Jesus. But does Arteta view him as a striker? I don't know, man. How did William Saliba fit Erling Haaland in his back pocket, and can he do it again? You're asking the wrong guy. But what I do know is that this Arsenal side seems different. More mature, even though they've lost their 30-year-old former captain and signed a 24-year-old, another 24-year-old, and a 22-year-old. From what we know and what we've seen from Arteta, he's likely thoroughly analyzed where things went wrong last time. Aaron Ramsdale had an incredible debut season, but last one was one to forget, especially in the later stages. A series of mistakes by him definitely led to some drop points, but he is a good keeper, and he's young. Maybe together, David Raya and Aaron Ramsdale can work to bring the best out of each other and for Arsenal in the long run. Not only did Arsenal surprise the entire footballing world last year by how much they improved, but they also convinced a large amount of people that they were actually going to win it. They led the table for 248 days, but the walls just came crashing down. That's painful. Very painful. However, by the looks of things, it looks like it's entirely possible that they've gone ahead and done something that a lot of people thought would be impossible. They've put it behind them. For us, it's a statement, a marker, to know we can go and beat Man City in a big game when it matters. I'm not sure what it will be like this season, but that mental block is gone. We are ready to push on now. This was Aaron Ramsdale after overcoming City in the Community Shield. And while it may seem like this is just your run-of-the-mill quote to rally the troops, I honestly feel that the team believes this. Sure, it's just the Community Shield, but the joy and relief on their faces paints a telling picture, as it rightly should. 8 games. In the last 8 games that Arsenal have played against Man City in all competitions, they have lost every single one. They haven't even shared the spoils. Perhaps this result is significant, but perhaps it also isn't. They lost the last 7 games that preceded the games before their last victory, meaning that in Man City and Arsenal's head-to-head over their last 17 matchups, the record is 15 wins to City and 2 to the Arsenal. Make of that what you will. In any case, what we all think probably doesn't actually matter. What matters is how Arsenal approach the coming season. I spoke about the new signings earlier, but what about the current crop? To go one place above them right now and defeat what many believe to be a truly unstoppable force, every single player will have to improve. On paper, this doesn't seem like a tough ask. If we go by common opinion, a large percent of these players are yet to hit their prime. Could it be their year? Let me know what you all think. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you're having a great day. Cheers, and I will catch you in the next one.